Stage is set. The bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 77. OFT is back in your life. After 2 weeks away, I am joined by the bronze, the golden bronze, Mr. Robert Palin.
Thanks, man.
Welcome home.
Thanks.
It's a good holiday.
Ireland or
Here? Yeah.
Both.
Both.
Deadly holiday. Really enjoyed it.
You went to Harry Potter like a nerd.
Went to Harry Potter like a nerd. I went to the Book of Mormon. Did you ever hear that?
That's
South
no,
Park.
South. Oh, I was going to get that wrong. I was going to say it's what's the lads, Life of Brian and all that Monty Python.
No, that's what a lot of people said that it's the South Park creators musical as weird
You've
as
lost
that
me, don't
It's
South
not.
Park.
It's hilarious.
It was good, yeah.
Oh, hilarious.
And then you were away in sunny Spain.
Yes.
And you're looking golden from it.
Thank you.
So
Not as golden as I hoped.
Yeah, no.
Oh, the first thing came to the office. First thing, I was talking to one of the girls, and she was like, "You didn't really get a tan, did you?" I was like, "Not really."
I hate when people do that.
I know, yeah.
Well, I always find it's very difficult
I'm
to get
slightly
a tan
less white anyway.
indoors
so
when you're drinking pints
Yeah.
and shots. Pretty big show this week. It's obviously, folks, it's going to be a Mayweather-McGregor special. We've got a lot of people on. Some people think someone's going to win and some people think the other guy's going to win. So we're splitting them up. We are going to be joined by Johnny Jitsu, who is just getting on. We're going to be joined by Loaded Joe's MMA podcast host, Blake Weather. Will be joining us. He's coming on. We'll have a chat. He's pretty adamant that Floyd Mayweather, he's a big Floyd Mayweather enthusiast. He knows everything about him. So he'll be joining us to talk the fight. We'll also have Brendan Dorman on. Going to be probably a little bit more techie talk and what to do, what not to do, what to be looking
about
for.
iPods and all that jazz.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. He's wearing, I believe, I'd say, we could clash today. And of course Daniel Movahedi will be joining us. But a shout out as always to our sponsors, Fight Store Ireland. Everything you need under two roofs, from groin guards to shin guards. They look after Conor McGregor, they look after your local fighter. Go and check them out. They look after obviously Fight Talk. As well, we want to give the big shout out as always to MMA Mix. They do things a little different. Check them out. They're not your stereotypical MMA site, but they're obviously good, folks, because they're with obviously Fight Talk. And feelsupreme.co.uk for all your fighter recovery needs, for all organic supplements, your CBD oil, everything you need. They well look after everything from world champions to amateur fighters to pro fighters to average Joe. And they look after the Chinese, and they won loads of medals. So yeah, let's get it started and let's dive in and let's get on with Johnny Jitsu. Just getting on with Johnny Jitsu. Who's the fuck?
Johnny Jitsu here, just getting on for obviously Fight Talk. What's up, lads? How's things?
What's the crack, Johnny? Long time no speak. How we keeping?
Yeah, keeping very well, lads. All is good. And yourselves, gentlemen, how are we doing? Good?
Well, I'm just back from a holiday, so I'm slightly depressed. But apart from that, Maury.
Yeah, the holiday blues, Robert.
Big time, man. Big time.
We timed it absolutely perfect, though. We timed it in the 2 weeks where nothing MMA related really happened, so it fitted. But come here, Johnny. We've talked about this a good few times, but now the fight that we never thought was going to happen is days away from happening. All the press tour, all the madness, all the Paul Malignaggi, was it a push, was it a knockdown? It's all built and we're days away from this happening. It's almost like it's a build to a boxing versus MMA now. You can see all the MMA guys getting behind Conor and all the boxing guys giving them no chance whatsoever. So days out, has your opinion changed and what do we think is going to happen?
No, my opinion stays the same on the fight. I think for Conor to get the win here, he comes in and he makes this an unorthodox style fight, and I think that's what they've been talking about themselves, the lads. I mean, from all the videos, all the all access, it looks like he preparing correctly, like, and Paulie Malignaggi definitely wasn't fucking pushed. He was busted around the ring, in fairness.
It looked like he was pushed the way Jose Aldo was, alright. A big thing that happened last week as well, Johnny, I want your perspective on this, because I'm sure when you're in the gym training, you'd use that from 16 ounces to 12 to 10s to 8s. How significant is them going from 10 ounces to 8 ounces?
Mate, I don't think there is that much of a significance because, like, at the end of the day, you know, like, them boxing gloves, like, how long are boxing gloves actually only around that the boxers are actually wearing just to protect their knuckles? Like, the padding on the front of the boxing glove, like, your knuckle comes through that. So, like, there's no two ways about it, whether it's 10s, 8s, whatever. The shots catch you on the spot. That's it. You're gone. Makes no difference.
And what about size-wise for the likes of defending and you know what I mean, blocking shots coming through?
Okay, look, playing peekaboo behind them windows and he's trying to close up. You know, how much of a significance and how much bigger is the glove actually going to be to stop him from doing them things or not do or do? You know, they're very small little things now, you know, when it comes to that. He's still going to have his defensive postures and he's still going to head movement the same. Nothing's going to change there. The glove's going to make no difference to that. Do you know?
And with, again, you know, Conor's experience, Andrew McGatton on MacLife was talking to Conor there during the week, and he was saying, you know, you're used to the bright lights have been on you, the heat of the lamps, and, you know, you shine under this. Mayweather says he always looks good under the light, but Conor says he always looks great under the lights. Is it different, though, with it being a boxing fight?
Conor said he said he looks great in the gym, and he looks great under the lights. Well, you know.
But with it being a boxing event, he's never tasted this. He's never done this. He obviously he's gone through a heavy camp where there was a lot of sparring, and he said there was no spars here. They were all fights. But is it something going to come into play when eventually he steps between the ropes, everyone gets out, and here they are in the T-Mobile, and he's standing across the ring from Mayweather? Is it something that he's not going to be used to before? And there might be. We always talk about octagon jitters, but ring flutters, let's call them. Will that be something with Conor?
I like it. Right. Now, this is the way you've got to look at it here. Look, Conor's been like a two-weight world champion in two different promotions. He's fought at the highest stage you can. He headlined the Madison Square Garden there. It's not going to be the lights that's going to be the trouble here. It's all going to boil down to whether he can impose his game on Mayweather, full stop. Like, I don't think Conor's going to be the one to crack under pressure when he gets under the lights there at the end of the day. He's fought at the biggest stage you can possibly fight at. Like, you can't. It's not going to overwhelm him. I mean, like, all the build up to this, he's got the build up before in the UFC. So I don't think that's going to play in at all. It's all going to boil down to whether Conor can impose himself, impose his style on Mayweather. You know, that's the view there, lads. And
what do you think? Will he impose his style? Is it going to happen? Is Goliath going to get beaten by Dave again? What's your thoughts on it, Johnny? Give us. Don't sit in the fence for me. Is he going to shock the world?
I'm not the fence. It's like I told you, lads. Like, I equally respect the two guys coming in here. Obviously, I'm going to back me on when it comes to watching it and sitting there, and I'm going to be behind Conor 100%. And like we all are, and the whole country should get behind him. It's a believable thing what he's going to do here. But, you know, at the end of the day, you got to respect Mayweather and what he brings as well. The guy has never lost. You know, he is the best defensive boxer. I think, like, a mad statistic came up of how many times he was actually hit, like, and it's fuck off. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I've been probably hit more times in a bleeding sparring session, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, unbelievable, man. So, you know, it's all going to boil down to, can Conor come in and impose this unorthodox MMA style on him and catch him at an angle and catch him at an angle that he's not used to being caught at and just upset him. It's got to come early from Conor. I think, like, in the first 3 to 4 rounds, he's got to be on him, and he's got to get his respect early, because if he doesn't get his respect early and Mayweather starts getting the timing down like he does with all his other opponents, you know, you can only go on the statistics. We have not seen them move around there yet. We haven't seen them trade one blow yet. You know what I mean? You can only go on what you've seen from both guys in their sports leading up to this point. And at the end of the day, Mayweather's the unbeaten guy. Conor's the biggest MMA star in the world right now. Like, he was a 2-weight world champion. It's all collided at this time, and it just remains to be seen now come Saturday night, lads, what way this is going to go down. And look, it's you know, like, the build up, everything. It is the biggest fight we've ever seen, And I know, like, you've got the MMA guys now on one side, you've got the boxing purists on another side, and somewhere in between that you've the WWE heads, and you've fucking everyone, and it's a top spectacle, and you know, we should all get behind Conor now, you know, regardless of sitting on the fence and putting out the statistics and doing that. He's an Irish man that's had to get into this point now, and we should get behind him and cheer him on here Saturday night, you know.
I honestly don't think there's an Irishman in the country or worldwide that's not going to be.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that one. But sorry, Rob.
Yeah, just one question before you leave. If Conor does win, or even if he goes 12 rounds and looks good, does he return to MMA next, or does he maybe get a fight with Paulie Malignaggi or stay in boxing?
That's what I was saying to one of my friends during the week. I think it's lining up that way, for a fight with Paulie Malignaggi, you know what I mean? But I still think we could see Conor back in MMA as well, and I still think there's opponents out there. I think a trilogy match with Diaz is definitely worth that type of money he's gonna want to get from the boxing. I think how that's built up now, a win each with them two, and they're back and forth, like, that could be a huge fight when that comes around again after this. So you just don't know what's down the line here. Ultimately, it's up to Conor what he wants to do, you know. He doesn't, the chap doesn't have to fucking do anything now, you know. But 100%. I definitely see him coming back to MMA myself. I think he will come back. I think definitely the fighter in him, he'd like to have that trilogy match with Diaz, you know, and put a nail on that. No, so
I think a little thing that'll happen there is the fact that the UFC have Ferguson and Lee fighting under for an interim belt. That'll annoy Conor a little bit as well, that there's an interim belt in his weight class. So I'd love to see him step back in there, but I can't wait to watch the fights. Or the fight on Saturday night. It's something that we never thought was going to happen. It is happening. Where are you going to watch it, Johnny? You going to watch it at home, or are you going out for it?
Here, lads, I got the Sky Sports package into the bleeding house here. I've been going on to all the little extras all week. Man, I'm like a bleeding kid in a candy store. Great.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Jitsu has it in, so pop around on Saturday night. Johnny will welcome you with open arms.
Don't do that to me. She's bleeding, killing me now.
Just bring a 6-pack of Heineken and you're in.
Bag of cans.
Bag of cans and you're in. Johnny, listen, enjoy the fight, me man. Great chatting to you again, and see you soon, yeah?
Best of luck, lads. Who's the fuck?
Cheers, Johnny.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Jitsu. Just giving his thoughts. We spoke to Johnny a few times about this fight. We almost spoke to him about, this isn't going to happen. This shit. It's actually being confirmed to now. So.
I think if you try get like all the videos we've done with Johnny throughout the whole kind of build up to this, not even the build up, but like when it was kind of been spoke about, you'll probably have like a complete timeline of everything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of cool actually. But
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
So let's keep this show moving, Rob.
Let's keep the show moving.
And let's get on to, you know, Johnny's talking about there, he's an Irishman, we got to get behind him. So we're going to give the opposite view.
Yeah.
We're going to ring an American.
An American?
An American. He is the host of Loaded Joe's, the MMA podcast.
Why did you say that word?
Podcast. I don't know. Jay Skelly. I don't know why. Just there you go. Jason, I jumped into my head. But yeah, we're gonna hit him up. So let's get Blake on the blower. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and I'm delighted to say we are now joined by the host of Loaded Joe's MMA podcast, Blake Stephenson, otherwise known as Blake Money Blakeweather. So Blake, thanks a million for taking the time to come on to obviously Fight Talk.
Oh, man, thank y'all for having me, man. I just had to wear green just because I knew I was going to be on here on obviously Conor McGregor Talk, or is it still obviously Fight Talk?
We're still hanging on to obviously Fight Talk.
Yeah. Quite impartial.
Yeah, so Blake, you obviously, as the name, your nickname would suggest, you're a big Mayweather fan here, watching a lot of your stuff. You don't give Conor much chance in this, so let's talk about why is Floyd Mayweather going to get his hand raised on Saturday night?
I mean, there's just so many reasons. I don't know how much time I have, but there's just so many reasons. Like, it's when he literally says he's been here before, man. Like, there's so many things that Conor does that are reminiscent of other Floyd opponents that all he has to do is put it together like he's building like a Frankenstein monster, right? And then when you put together those parts, you've obviously beaten those styles. So all he has to do is do the weakness for those things that he's already beat, like kind of the long and short of it. I don't hate Conor. I don't dislike Conor. In fact, I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. I'll say that here if I haven't already said it enough. Mm-hmm. But I can't go for him in this fight, man. Like it's not a fight. It's not a fight that he's gonna win. I'm glad that people think he's gonna win, and that'll buy into the pay-per-views. But again, that's kind of the long and short of it when it comes to this fight. You know, this Floyd's done everything. He's got all the experience he needs. He just has to put it all together come fight night.
Yeah, fans get really weird with that. Like if you pick one guy or you think one guy's gonna win, they automatically think you're a hater of the other guy. So I wouldn't really worry about that. One interesting thing you did say there was that you think that the style that McGregor has been shown in a lot of other Mayweather opponents. That's something that I haven't heard personally. What do you think that Conor does that's like other Mayweather opponents in the past?
So first off, I mean, let's go with the obvious. He's southpaw, right?
Yeah.
Floyd's beat all the southpaws, but he's drawn different things from different southpaws. He's gathered tools from different fights to make his last 3 opponents that he's fought southpaw, including Robert Guerrero, Victor Ortiz, and Manny Pacquiao. He's done things that nullified things that they do well, and he's filled holes where, like the right hook, for example. He was getting that landed on him by southpaws like DeMarcus Corley and Zab Judah. But as his career went on, that was no longer a hole. So again, the obvious thing being southpaw. Let's talk about the unorthodox nature of Conor McGregor, the spacing, and he's come from different backgrounds. Well, other guys he's fought come from different backgrounds too. Zab Judah's dad was a world-class kickboxer in the 80s. So Zab Judah didn't really come up doing like just pure boxing, came up doing kickboxing first. So you're going to tell me that like a guy like that don't know different ranges or doesn't know different things? And yeah, he was the hardest southpaw that Floyd ever fought, but this was, again, 11 years ago. And again, every time Floyd fights, he fills in the holes. It's like potholes. It's like he drives through a road and then he notices, okay, there's potholes here. I got to fill that in. So that's what he does, man. Andre Berto, another person, he comes from a different background. Yeah, he focused on boxing, but his whole family does mixed martial arts. In fact, his dad was in UFC 10. So he fought in other people that have different backgrounds and come with sort of a different mindset when it comes to fighting. Also, let's focus on Conor's left. That's his big weapon, right? Conor's left hand. Who else had big left hands? All the southpaws that he fought. And he has found a way to shut down the left hand, but by not giving you the target that you need and not giving you the timing that you need to land it. So he disrupts your left hand the whole time. He knows how to get away from left hands. I guess that's a short way to put it. From everybody. And the hardest hitting of all of them, I mean, we can arguably say is Manny Pacquiao. Just because Manny Pacquiao was 35 or 36, Floyd was older than him. Let's not forget that. And let's not forget that Manny Pacquiao still don't hit hard. Maybe he's not on the PDs no more, allegedly. But, he still hits hard. So Floyd knows how to get away from the left hand. He knows how to disrupt southpaws. He knows how to handle guys that come at him with different ranges and different tests. He knows how to handle smothers, too. Think about, Maidana, or you think about Jesus Chavez early in his career, Jose Luis Castillo, guys that, gave him issues, or swarmers, and much like we see Conor in the Paulie Malignaggi footage, but he knows how to deal with that too. So like everything Conor can think of doing, he knows how to deal with. He has an answer for it,
One thing, in a way, I get what you're saying here, Blake, with one thing that Conor has that none of them fighters have is Floyd. The only footage Floyd has seen of Conor McGregor is a 15-second clip against Paulie Malignaggi. So he is coming in against the unknown. I can appreciate you're saying he's adopted his style. There's so much footage of the opponents you've mentioned there that he can do study.
But he never watches footage on his opponents.
I don't believe that any fighter ever really does that. His coaches do.
That's fine. Coach. No, yeah, the coaches do, and that's fine. Nate Jones watch a lot of footage. I know, a lot of guys in his camp watch the footage, and that's perfectly fine. Let me tell you an example of something like this. He fought a guy named Philip Indu. It was his 30-second fight, and nobody really knew a whole bunch about Philip Indu. Philip Indu was from South Africa. He was a champion. He was like 31-1, but nobody really knew. They didn't have like YouTube like they do now. You know what I'm saying? So you could just go watch some footage, and he'd only fought on like HBO like once or twice. Boy, they'd never seen him fight. his camp had never seen him fight. And so what happened was, before the start of the fight, every coach goes to the back to watch, the other opponent wrap the hands in boxing. And so Roger Mayweather went to the back to go see how Philip Ndu was wrapping his hands, everything checked out, and just to make sure no funny business, he hung out a little bit, and they test the gloves just to make sure the gloves are working, and he was throwing combos on the gloves. And right then and there, Roger Mayweather saw all the holes he needed, and they told Floyd Mayweather, he's like, okay, I know how we're going to attack him. We're going to do this, this, and this. And he TKO'd Philip Ndu. So it's things like that. Like, all he needs is just, you give him just a little bit of rope, and he'll work with it.
Counter argument to that as well. Just to play the whole devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, when he came into the UFC, said he was going to be the 2-time champion. Got laughed at. He's done that. He's put his doubters, every time he silences doubters, he's done the thing that every fight he's ever had in the UFC was a step up. Maybe you could say Dennis Seaver wasn't, but everything was higher. And now he is now days away from a fight that was laughed at when it was first mentioned. There's no way this fight is going to happen.
By a lot of people.
So Conor McGregor is something unique. He is something special. He just has that something, that belief, that youth, the power, everything. And give me a percentage. What percent do you give Conor McGregor of an opportunity to win this?
I did the math on this, and I'm not going to get into how I did the math on this, but if we're giving Conor McGregor a puncher's chance, I did the math of him solely landing the one punch that he needs that can knock Mayweather down or really hurt Mayweather. And it wasn't even with left hands either, because Floyd's never been hurt with the left hand. In fact, every time he's been hurt, the 4 invisible times we've seen him been hurt, 2 of the guys were southpaw, 2 of them were orthodox. DeMarcus Corley and Zav Judah were southpaw. Maidana and Mosley were orthodox fighters. And every time they hurt him, it was with a right hand. So I broke down the math. 1 out of every, I think it was like 500 and, off the top of my head, 36 right hands that's landed on Floyd does the damage. Can Conor McGregor throw 536 right hands? I don't know. I don't even know if he's never even rocked anybody with his right hand. He uses it more, Robin Black likes to call it flim-flam, just kind of distract you, and then he throws the left. Even if you look back at that Eddie Alvarez fight, the last right hand he threw didn't even really land, right? That's not his main weapon. And that's the weapon he needs, that right hook. Three right hooks have been the ones that have visibly rocked Mayweather. So has he been working on that? I don't know. I hope so. Is it enough time though to develop the timing that you need and the power that you need behind it? When I was watching him hit the bag, he really didn't throw that much of that. And even his jab was more of a back fist than a jab. The percentage I gave him though was, I think the math came out to 0.18% out of 100%.
Do you put any stock into the fact that Floyd Mayweather is a lot older? Do you think that 2 years out can affect Mayweather, or like he's in great shape, we see that, but do you think that something like that could affect Mayweather and the youth being on McGregor's side?
No, I mean, he takes so good care of his body, man. Like, you're talking about a guy who gets massages every day, who, maybe he doesn't eat the cleanest, but he doesn't do drugs, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do alcohol, he doesn't drink alcohol, and he was actually ready for this fight last year. You can see a lot of interviews, even with Freddie Roach, where he's like, Floyd told me the fight was going to happen. And by me, I got lots of close sources with the inside of his camp. He was ready for this. He was ready to sign the fight last year and for it to happen last year. Had Conor beat Nate, it arguably we could have already had this fight. You know what I'm saying? So he's been ready for this fight. Then he's coming off of another camp. He had a camp with Gervonta Davis from the end of February all the way up into early May. Gervonta Davis obviously is co-headlining this pay-per-view card. But he was in a camp with him just to test out, to kind of, he knew this fight was happening a long time ago. So he was getting in shape already for then. It's funny because he's throwing off everybody. He's on Showtime, and all you're seeing is riding horses and fucking going to, girl collection. But that's the opposite of actually what he's really doing. When he was in Miami, he in fact was every night at like 12 o'clock. He would pull up at one of the boxing gyms, I forget which one it is, a very notable one out in that area, and was working out for like 3 hours. They didn't show that. They don't want people to think that he's training as hard as he is. They want people to think, oh, he's not training, he's older, he's this, he's that. Nah, bro. Like, he's training with, Errol Spence has been brought in. Zab Judah's been brought in. Last week, I think for the last week and a half, he's had Carl Eubank Jr. And Carl Eubank Sr., in fact, gave Conor a good chance. And so I think he has an idea of a game plan that Conor was going to do. So he told Junior, and they're practicing that shit in the gym. So there's no, with all this 40 nonsense, he's 40 in age, but his body's not 40. His body is still probably that of a 35, 36-year-old.
One more thing, we'll let you go.
Yeah.
Your prediction. How does it go? How does it end?
On the spot.
Oh, man. On the spot, because I've been asked this a lot, and I still haven't made my mind up. But every fight I've said, Floyd's gonna go to decision. When people are like, "Oh, he's gonna knock him out," he trained for him. He can go decision. This one, I don't even think it's going to decision. I think it ends by the 10th round by either a TKO with referee being like, "Listen, Conor taking too many shots," or even body shots. So by the 10th round, I'm not saying it's gonna end in the 10th round, but by the 10th round, it should be over due to TKO, whether it's, again, a body shots or just the ref like, "Listen, nope, can't do this no more."
What? Just a question, hypothetically. Obviously, you don't think McGregor will win, and I think a lot of people, and including me, I can't pick McGregor because, he's, it's a boxing fight. But if the unthinkable does happen, what happens with boxing? Does McGregor stay there? Does the Malignaggi fight happen? Does he go back to MMA? What happens with Mayweather? How does that affect Mayweather's legacy?
People have been looking for something to pick Mayweather against since day one, right? Since, he beat Diego Corrales. Yeah. Wait till he fights so-and-so. He's going to get knocked out. I don't know how much I guess the hateration comes in on Floyd, but then there might be the counter to that, as there might be, finally he got beat, so finally we can kind of let his legacy rest. There will, of course, be a lot of memes and Ronda, memes and shit like that. But again, that's like telling me what happens you wake up tomorrow and there's no more gravity. Like, I can't even comprehend that because that's not what's going to happen. But I can imagine a world like that happening. And what happens with Conor? All what you say. He goes to MMA, he boxes Paulie. Hell, he come back and just box him. He creates some more hype after the Paulie fight with another boxer. Like, he could do all that. You know what I'm saying? And what happens to the world of boxing? Not much, because we still got GGG Canelo coming up. So boxing will be just fine and dandy. They'll write off Floyd as their bastard stepchild, like they've been doing for forever, right? They don't even want Floyd there. They're like, why does he keep fighting? Why does he keep beating? They want him to lose. Boxing world has been wanting him to lose. So yeah, it could happen, but it is, again, like telling me no more gravity. That's like telling me the moon's going to be over the sun the whole time on the eclipse. Like, that's not what's going to happen. So, but to walk a little bit into that world, like, that could be a taste of what to expect.
I think it's something that's intrigued. Again, it depends who you're talking to, and their opinion flips. Fair play to you, coming onto an Irish podcast and giving the Irishman not a chance in hell. So you should be commended for
having me on, man.
Yeah, you should be commended for your bravery.
What's your address?
We hope you're wrong, but
come at me, bro.
It's been fantastic. And just for people who want to check out Loaded Joe's, just tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Loaded Joe's MMA podcast. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn. I've been doing the Money Blakeweather Chronicles. I've been talking to people like Robin Black, Coach Jason Perillo, Coach Angelo Reyes, Matt Hunter from Boxing Talk, Boxing Voice podcast. So just a lot of people with a lot of different ideas. Whether we see things alike or not is not important. We're having great conversations, and we're drinking beers and shit. So we're having fun, man. But everybody, please go check Loaded Joe's MMA podcast out.
Definitely, and my man, we will have you on again when we're not talking conflict, when we're just talking a beautiful sport. So listen, thanks for taking the time, and enjoy the fight.
Brother, thank for having me on. Y'all have a great day.
Cheers, my man. Take care. There you are. Money Blakeweather doesn't give Conor a chance.
Yep.
Crazy. But check him out on the Loaded Joe's MMA podcast.
Yeah, check him out, man. That was fun.
Yeah. If that Celtic cross lands and the flim flam, he's in serious trouble. So let's move on to your next article on Obviously Fight Talk. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube, you will know, and if you're listening on iTunes or Android
or wherever,
you're about to find out. We're joined by Brendan Dorman. So Brendan, welcome along and welcome back to obviously Fight Talk after a 2-week hiatus.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Welcome back.
How cheesy was that?
Thanks for being had.
That was awesome. I
forgot my uniform today.
Yeah.
I forgot my uniform.
That's my professional voice.
He forgot his uniform.
Go on.
Rob forgot his uniform today. We're in our uniform.
Yeah, I forgot it.
For anybody watching,
look at this.
We may be on the other side of the planet to another, but we've aligned.
We've coordinated.
We are Flash. 2 of us are wearing Flash tops. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Brendan, let's get serious. I don't know if you're aware, there's a fight going down on Saturday night. You might have seen something about it on social media. Floyd Money Mayweather takes on the Notorious Conor McGregor. Obviously, this is being batted around and spoke about from everybody on the way to work, on sitting, getting your hair cut, talking to your neighbour, cutting the grass. Whatever you're breaking it down with, people are going to talk to you about. But it was something I wrote for Paddy Power blog, where I turned around and something I said was, Floyd Mayweather, there's no footage on Conor. So in a way, he can't replicate what Conor does, or can he, in training. He can't prepare for it in that way because it can't be mimicked, so he can't game plan for it. So is this something that we spoke earlier to Blake Stephenson, and I sort of said, he's never seen what Conor's done before, and Blake had named a plethora of fighters to say, well, he didn't see him, and he still beat him. But surely Conor McGregor is coming into this fight with an advantage that there's no footage of him boxing, unless you include a 10-15 second clip against Paulie Malignaggi and that push. Or
his MMA boxing.
Is the footage of him boxing going to be enough to give Mayweather a game plan?
That's tough. Blake's correct in that Floyd notoriously doesn't watch film on his fighters, or his opponents, rather. So that's true. I mean, unless he's full of shit, right? But that's kind of the accepted norm, that he doesn't watch footage on anyone before he fights them. That's what I've always heard. So whether or not that's true, who knows? But that's word on the street anyway. So with that said, I think one of the things that's being kind of overstated and or understated is, we all know, or we all at least assume that if Floyd made the crossover rather than Conor, that he'd be so overwhelmed because there's so many more weapons, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But when your weapons now are limited rather than expanded upon, right? You have 2 fists and you only really have an upper torso to hit. You can't punch in the legs as far as I know. You can't Superman punch. You can't, there's no real tricks. There's no spinning back fist. So what's he going to do that's that tricky, right? I saw him do some nice setups in those 15 seconds here and 40 seconds there. And, there's the way that he set up Paulie with that really strong straight left, where he had his right hand pronating out. I slowed it down. I don't know if you guys saw that recent video I did on it, but when he pulled his hand down, the ref was kind of in the way, but he had his right hand down from being up, and he must have taken his focal point down to then throw that straight left that knocked his head back, So he might have some really interesting setups. I know Conor and Kavanaugh are masters at film, watching film, but because we've seen that, we saw with Diaz, the first fight, they didn't have time really to prep, and Conor used to say they didn't watch film on people, but clearly with Aldo and Diaz too, Eddie Alvarez, he absolutely knew their patterns, whereas Floyd comes out slow and then kind of, computes allegedly within the first couple of rounds. So tough to say, right? Because you're taking away weapons. What's he gonna do that's so tricky? It's just gonna be a matter of, is his power and reach and size and strength, because I don't think Floyd's going to be cutting all that much, and Conor's going to be probably making a massive weight cut. He looks broadness-wise huge right now. Yeah. So he's probably going to walk around 170s-ish, So is it going to be that? Is it going to be just slick switch stancing? I didn't like that he was doing that on the heavy bag, because I've been saying for years that he can and that he should and that he would. And he's doing it now in warm-up, and I'm like, save that, man. But then again, you watch old footage of Floyd, And like when he's fighting, not so much with Zab Judah because he's so fast, but most other southpaws besides Pacquiao and Judah, he'd switch to southpaw often to close the stance rather than be open stanced. So you may see that too. There's so many possibilities. So as much as I think there's like this, 80-20 or 90-10 thing going on, I think anyone calling it 100% either way is a little crazy. It's tough to say definitively, but I think that those points need to be made that you only have two hands and you only have really a chin strap. I mean, I guess technically temples to aim for, and then the body, right? Liver shots, etc. So does that? I don't know if that totally answers it, but
I just think as well. I want to focus. Sorry, I don't know. Robbie might flip it, but I want to focus first on Conor and then on Floyd. So with that, what you've just said, what does Conor need to incorporate? I'd imagine it's going to be just an evolution of his boxing striking. He's not going to come out. He's not going to come out with a traditional boxing stance and come out. So realistically here, with knowledge of what Mayweather does, what do you think Conor needs to implement and bring to this fight? Obviously, the big thing is he's got to get his respect early, and a lot of people's thoughts are he's going to come rushing out at the start and try and engage with Floyd straight away and set a high, fast pace and get it done early. Is that general opinion the correct opinion, or what do you think he needs to implement to get Conor McGregor to win this fight?
Technically?
Yeah.
Floyd seems every bit as strong mentally as Conor, in a different kind of way. To say that Floyd looks shook or scared or whatever, like that's... I mean, did anyone sense that at all?
No.
He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like texting when Conor's saying whatever he just doesn't care.
How is he texting, though? He can't read or write.
What?
How is he texting, though? He can't read or write. I'm just saying.
Oh, he's sending emojis.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, go ahead.
He sent me one of a shamrock and said, good luck to your boy. And I told Conor all about it. It was a great conversation.
Thumbs up in the shamrock.
Yeah. So anyway, I agree with the fact that he should start strong early. I think Floyd's always had fantastic endurance. Even in the Judah fight, which people always kind of point to and say southpaws, etc. Yeah. He comes on late. He kind of comes on later, but he did win the third round. Point being is that Conor certainly should be unorthodox. If he comes out and tries to be hands up, 1, 2, slip, 3, 2, like with drop L steps, he can do that. He does that actually really well, especially for an MMA striker. But I don't think versus Floyd, if you look at the damage that he's taken, whether it was like Mosley's right hand, Judah's was just a beautiful punch, but Maidana caught him on some awkwardness. It's always been kind of awkwardness, if you will. Like Triple G throws he knocked a guy out with this overhand kind of arching 3, where it's like not the angle that he took with his feet, it's the angle of the actual punch. If the camera's here, like rather than just turning your left like this straight, he turned it up and down. Right? So if Conor starts throwing things like that and feinting correctly and just maybe getting real bladed, kind of that like lead leg forward, people call it like karate stance. I would just call it whatever stance. I mean, bladed, because so many different martial arts use that kind of a stance, right? Yeah, he's got to be aggressive. I would say you just attack, maybe you dynamically attack. You change, you kind of pepper up and get your way in to frustrate him and then blast. Kind of the Joanna/Diaz brothers type attack. But yeah, come on strong early. You're not going to wait for someone like Floyd. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. You've got to bring it to him. Now, Floyd's saying he's going to bring it to Conor. Again, all these things are they seem like gamesmanship a bit to me. But stay awkward. Do the things that aren't boxing savvy. Like, I don't want to discredit my original point about, that you only have hands and you only have X amount of attacks. True, but you can set things up in wacky ways. And if you listen to Conor in interviews, he cited, who do I always cite in boxing? Constantly. There's a certain fighter, he's my generation, best pound for pound I've ever seen in his prime.
Well,
I say his name all the time.
Mosley?
No.
Mosley? No.
No. God. I thought I brought him up so much you guys were like, shut the fuck up about that guy. Roy Jones.
Roy Jones.
Yeah,
I was thinking go.
Rocky Balboa?
It's okay.
No.
So with Roy Jones, it was athleticism for sure, which Conor has in spades, and it was his trickiness, if you will. And he also had this this kind of brilliant way to attack southpaws. Southpaws got destroyed by him. Not to say that Floyd hasn't beaten southpaws more handily than I think people think. But yeah, he's got to use his athleticism, use weird steps, use weird angles, and, you know, try to change it up. Don't stay to your strengths and don't try to get like into the boxing realm too much, you know? You're still throwing hands, but throw them creatively, you know? Try to show Floyd things he hasn't seen, perhaps.
That links into something that I think Conor brought up, and it's kind of, it's an interesting one. Do you subscribe to the idea that it's possible that some of the things that Conor's gonna do will kind of wake up the boxing world? Like, what he says is that boxers right now are stuck to the same style. They do the same thing for the most part. You obviously have Triple G, who does a lot of different things, but for the most part they do the same things. And when they watch him at the open workout, a lot of boxers made fun of him because of the way he threw his punches, and they were mimicking him and all this stuff. But you subscribe to the idea that it's possible that when Conor gets in there, he might do some things that will wake up the boxing world and say, hey, maybe we didn't have to do certain things certain ways, and maybe there's different ways of doing them.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I'm not going to make this about me, but I've always looked at striking as, from the way I teach it, the way that I look at it, right? So all coming up when I was learning, until I met Phil Nurse and started training with him, everyone was like, no, this is the way, and this is how you throw a right hand, and this is... Now, Phil wouldn't let you be sloppy, but once you got your basics, and Danaher's a lot like this too, but in jiu-jitsu, but we'll stick to striking. He allowed you and promoted creativity. So if you had an idea, he'd see it, right? And he'd kind of troubleshoot it and go, why not try this instead? So if I did a, you know, switch stance jab into a leg kick, you'd be like, why not double tap your left leg? And why not throw a knee into a spinning back fist? And why not, whatever it was, right? But he allowed me to be creative, and then I took that into my own kind of stylistic ways, and then eventually into my coaching. But the point is yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. Like, we still haven't seen like an Eddie Bravo guy, like a 10th Planet guy win, say, Abu Dhabi, right? As different as his style may be, but to say it's ineffective, right, would be crazy as well. Look at what they're doing with heel hooks and jiu-jitsu. I mean, I'm an MMA commentator or analyst, so I have to kind of look at it from every angle. In boxing, I mentioned Roy Jones, and you mentioned Triple G. Triple G, I think, is just an animal. It's not so much that it's different. He's like a new age haggler. He's got a granite chin, crazy power, awesome shifting of stance, and his ability to cut off the ring is just immaculate. Who knows with Canelo? That's a great fight too. But it's not new. Roy Jones was doing things where in the beginning of his career they would say, kind of like Conor alluded to with himself, like everyone used to make fun of this until it worked, and now they adopt it. And I thought it was a little bit corny, all the boxers like doing their like flail arm. What if he does that in the middle of the fight and then smashes Floyd? People are, you know what I'm saying? If Floyd has so much more to lose, so if Conor goes out there and just gets starched in the first round and he's doing goofy shit, that's going to look pretty bad. But if he, say, makes it even 12 and lands some good punches off of what we might look at as tricks or being tricky, then yeah, absolutely there's something there. And good. It's good for both sports, really. Absolutely. I mean, who does that hurt, you know?
What do you think of I know it's only such small footage that came out of the sparring session with Paulie Malignaggi, but something that a couple of people have picked up on was that Conor was in an awkward range for a boxer that he landed that left hand on. Forget the actual knockdown or push knockdown, but forgetting that, the left hand that he landed, it almost looked like everybody's opinion leading up to this was he'll telegraph it, they'll see it coming, but it was almost like Malignaggi thought he was out of range or something. It looked like it came from an out of boxing stance range. Is that something that could be implemented? Yeah, Floyd might see it and think I'm out of range of it, but he's not. That's something that happens a lot as well with a lot of Conor's fights, because I think we spoke about before, the way he moves guys to the wrong direction, and then it seems like they're out of range, and then he lands. No,
what he does is like from southpaw. Remember the like Prince Nassim Hamed thing I broke down like 6 years ago? I mean, it was one of my first breakdowns, where he'll weave to his right, come up with a corkscrew or a leaping uppercut, and then he hits the left straight. He hit Holloway with it a couple times wonderfully, right?
Lovely, yeah.
So because he's toyed with that, obviously he's watched all your awkward boxers. His favorites are Prince Nassim Ahmed, right? He likes Reagan Diao and Lomachenko right now, and he loves Roy Jones. We're talking about those are like the flashiest. If all he would have had to say was like Pernell Whitaker and the cycle is complete of boxers I saw in my lifetime that were awkward, right? Then he would have named every single one of them. So in other words, to extrapolate upon your point about being out of range, so he would dip this way to then leap in with the corkscrew. But now you see him like lean in a lot, and he'll tilt this way and kind of semi-pronate the right hand. There's the camera. And then he'll blast with his left, while someone's looking for kind of a short range punch, feeling like they're out of range of it, and he'll skip his left hip to follow in with that left to give him range. He did it more over in not Bama, what was it, Cage Warriors before?
Yeah.
Watch him throw a lot of those left straights that would hit, those non-telegraphed, like very, very straight twos. His left hip and his feet would follow it. So he's using not just that, but he's coiling it too. He does really interesting things. He did it with Alvarez too, where he stands in kind of like a bladed. He'll be bladed shoulder to you, and then as he squares his shoulders, he's like moving around to kind of dazzle you, and boom, there's the punch, you know. So yeah, he could hit that. The only thing that I want to say about that Malignaggi thing is, I heard that was in the 12th round.
Yeah, that's what he said.
When he landed that, Malignaggi, first of all, had headgear on that looked like it was from like in my basement, all dusty on the other side, right? Like he didn't. I don't know. I wish I knew more, or I could at least see all the rounds. Yeah. But he did get clipped. Nevertheless, we only have what we have, right? And like I said before, he pronated that right hand out straight to make it look as though his jab could only reach this far. But he does a weird thing where he's not blading it, right? So his shoulders are square, but he's making it look like he can only go so far, when in reality, if he had turned his shoulder in, he's got a long reach for his height. Yeah. So he's making a deception of about 6 inches by just turning his hips slightly in. And then all of a sudden, when it's in this way, he does it again, brings the arm down at the same time. Because as you know, as you pull one punch back, you pull the other one back, you're adding length and you're adding power to the opposite or coinciding punch, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, there's something to take from it. He was like, if you notice, Malignaggi was kind of shelling too. Yeah. So I don't know if he was brought in to emulate. I don't know. Something feels a little shaky about the whole thing, but either way, he got clipped by it. I mean, and who's going to take that kind of punch for nothing? You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to take, like, here's $100. Let me punch you as hard as I can in the face. Like, most people are going to say no, you know?
It's very interesting because it'd be interesting to see what he can land. Because the one that I was actually talking about, the punch that he throws a lot, is remember the Mendes fight when the finish, and it was like where Mendes was moving to Connor's right, and he was clearly open. He was clearly open for the right hook, but he doesn't throw the right hook. He overextends on the left, which looks like it shouldn't land, and he almost touches his own knee. It was like a pitch. It was like a baseball pitch.
Are you talking about the one that finished it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I call this a double tap. People use different nomenclature. I call it, like he did it against Seaver too, where he traps their outside to his weak side on the right, and he'll tap him. He did hit Mendez's chin as like a rangefinder, but he doesn't range find with a straight jab. Yeah. He range finds with a round punch that clips, and that actually makes that power on that 2 more. And he knows the button spot to go through. So he's moving with this to then create an angle that gets through the chin from here. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So he blocked an escape route while in the meantime setting up his chin. I mean, that's this kind of shit you can't teach that. That's just incredible instinct. And the thing against Seaver wasn't so different. It just made Seaver square. It didn't end up being a through shot the same, but it was the same principle. Yeah. He trapped him with a long into that straight. He's wonderful with that combination. Now, if Mayweather doesn't watch any film, I mean, anyone can get caught with something like that. The way he does it is it's so sequitur. It's so bang. You know, that's why I call it a double tap. It's like with a handgun, you know? Yeah. Pretty incredible. Is that kind of what you're speaking on?
That's exactly what I was talking about, yeah.
Okay. So that's Conor. That's what Conor can bring. I think the unpredictability nature of it what he's going to bring will be something that Mayweather will have to figure out. But Mayweather is the ultimate chess player. He's considered by many as the best defensive boxer of all time. So
I think the clinch is going to be interesting too.
Yeah, that's something that
there was a bit of clinch work in the Malignaggi sparring footage. Didn't see much of it, but there was a little bit where he was actually, it looked like he was almost hand fighting.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was a little awkward. Yeah. It was a little awkward, but again, that was late, so who knows, right? Yeah. It would have been more interesting to see what was going on in the second round.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this one more thing, and I'm plugging Ajar and Phil Nurse a lot today. Hopefully he's watching. But when I first clinched with him, like we used to do light sparring. Obviously, we didn't go hard or anything. But Phil's small. Like I probably had back then, I don't know, at least 50, 60 pounds on him, maybe more. And I couldn't do much in the clinch with him, like with his Thai clinch sensibilities. And if I wanted to, if I had a clear shot to him, I could pick him up with one hand probably, you know? Like I was stronger than he was, but his technique was just that much better, right? A boxing clinch, what you're trying to do and what you're doing defensively and where you're picking your shots is way different than a Thai clinch or a Greco clinch or a name the clinch, right? Yeah. So it's not just strength. It's a lot of it is technique, and I think that's kind of something people aren't speaking enough about as is, you know? Yeah. Anyway.
I know you're going to move on to Mayweather, but one more question about kind of the setup that Conor has. Do you think it's really, really smart of Conor bringing in the likes of Joe Cortez, considering he's going to go in there looking to see how far he can push the limits of boxing and see what he can do in the clinch, what he can do in certain positions? Do you think that's even smarter than bringing in, you know, even more good sparring partners, bringing in a really good referee who can kind of tell him, okay, this is as far as you'll probably be allowed to push a clinch or disposition or whatever?
Yeah, I never even thought of that. I actually made fun of it because I'm like, why is there a guy in a fucking bow tie in the ring? It's like, this is ridiculous. You're in a gym. Like when I made that video I made the other day, I was like, if I don't know if anyone's been in a training camp, but this isn't normal. Yeah. This shit is not normal. And I never even considered that. And that goes kind of within the line, yeah.
I'll edit that into a little clip for Facebook.
I didn't even think of that, but to speak on to the awkwardness or of the tricks, we'll call them, maybe he's testing the parameters of what tricks he can possibly throw or not throw, right?
By all accounts, he's had point deductions and everything in the fights.
Yeah.
What did you say, point deduction?
Yeah, he had point deduction in the Malignaggi one. Well, Dana White is quoted as saying, Conor won all 12 rounds, but you'd score at 10-2 because he got points deducted in 2 rounds.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So he's obviously been, you know, he's pushing the limits there.
Robin Black, apparently he was doing a breakdown for, I don't know if it's UFC, whatever, it's something.
His own channel it was. Yeah. Apparently he was at the gym.
But yeah, he was given footage. Apparently footage was given to Showtime to put on All Access, and they didn't use it. This was of the Malignaggi fight. But Robin Black has seen it and since said it's more of the same. And it's the earlier rounds.
So yeah, why would he lie?
Yeah. Well,
especially if it comes out.
It's going to come out.
All my fellow analysts, I speak to him the least.
Yeah.
Of all the guys. Besides like a Dan Hardy or I speak to Rogan. I'm much closer to Joe Rogan than I am Black, right? Yeah. I talk to him privately. I don't know Robin Black. I've reached out to him. I don't know, whatever. I respect the guy. But he doesn't strike me as someone that would lie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Why? What do you gain from lying?
Yeah, especially
in his position, you know?
Yeah. It's
doesn't make sense. So
the footage
that's interesting.
Yeah, the footage will come out. So again, it'd be interesting to see it.
If they're talking about the Malignaggi fight, if Conor can do well, you know, if Conor looks decent in the Mayweather fight, people are going to be talking about Malignaggi fight, especially the way it went. If that fight does happen, we'll probably never see that sparring footage because they're not going to release sparring footage before a fight, so who knows.
Moving on to Floyd. So talk to anyone in the boxing world. Floyd Mayweather's just got to turn up on Saturday night and he's going to get his hand raised. He's going to just make an absolute embarrassment of this mixed martial artist who has a limited set of skills, who doesn't have the sweet science ability in him. Like I said, he just has to turn up, take his robe off, and The Great White Hope, was that the movie where the guy turned up completely out of shape, got knocked out? But so, yeah, anyone in the boxing world, as Iron Mike Tyson said, Mayweather's going to get murdered in there. Ricky Hatton gives him no chance.
He's going to get murdered.
Did I say Mayweather?
Yeah.
I'd edit that.
Gains them both.
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of, like the fighters. We had Eric Kelly on, the New York boxing coach, who basically referred to Conor throughout the whole interview as Condom McGregor. He's basically said if Floyd Mayweather has forgotten more than Conor McGregor knows. So, is it that easy, or is the boxing world just terrified that this MMA star is going to come in and knock out what some consider as the greatest of all time?
Both. It can be both. And I'll try to explain why. Because my analytical brain, right, if I look at the way that Conor throws hands and I understand MMA boxing is different, I think people need to understand different doesn't mean worse always. It just means different. But in this scenario, it's a little bit worse. Like, what's he really going to land? Paulie is not Floyd Mayweather.
Never
I mean,
was.
no one is fooled about that, right? But let's be real. And I'll tell you what, that Van Heerden guy looked a hell of a lot better. Now, did Conor progress that much in that time? Who knows, right? The boxing world, if they look at it like the way I'm looking at it, goes, yeah, I don't see how he beats him, right? Because Floyd's never even shown a weak chin, you know? Even when he's gotten clipped, he recovers incredibly. Now, everyone talks about, like, here's the mistake some boxers are making. Like, he said, I quit. It's like, no. He got clocked and then shot in for a takedown and then took that route out. But either way, he got clipped on his feet standing. Now, a different scenario, I totally understand. But boxing's got so much to lose that there's the element of people that are like, fuck this. You know what I mean? They're no matter what, they're gonna say that. They're gonna say, even if Conor comes out and puts on some magical session, right? And it's a clinic, it's a free clinic, and everyone's like, wow, this is the new era of boxing, or just the craziest that way scenario. Yeah. They'll still say it was flukish. There's that contingency. Yeah. But there's also the people that are just analytical, like Max Kellerman, right? Yeah. That guy is sharp as shit. Yeah. You really think he's like, he doesn't think what he's saying? I think he does think that. I don't know. The way my analytical brain looks at things happening and the way I kind of look at pattern recognition, I go, it's going to be Floyd winning pretty decisively over 12, maybe a TKO, maybe body work if he finishes him, but not by clipping him in the face. Or there's my, I don't know why this is happening feeling, which is like, Conor's going to fucking win this thing. And I'm conflicted in my own head about that. So when it comes to these boxing heads, like, they're protecting this thing. Do you remember how they used to talk about MMA compared to now? Yeah. I mean, way back? Yeah. Like, I mean, even like guys like that I love, Bernard Hopkins, said some less than savory things about MMA fighters. And some people still do. Most aren't holding on to that. Someone like Lomachenko or the new era of guys, they tend to really respect it. Timothy Bradley's like best friends with Cub Swanson, and it goes on. Andre Ward of the Diaz brothers, right? So there's that, right? So they're MMA is respected in the boxing community, but they're also saying, like, you come here, it's the same way I would feel like if Conor competed against Nicky Holtzkin in a kickboxing match. I feel like he'd get destroyed. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's just me. That's the way I look at it. And I understand kickboxing probably better than I even understand boxing, you know? I've done more of it. So I don't know if that helps exactly, because it's kind of like I see both sides of that, you know? I think some people are being a little bit ridiculous with the, like, taunting McGregor and saying he's this, that, and, like, you're not even involved. There's people that are like 120 pounds that would probably get smashed by him. He's got the balls to go fight allegedly the best ever, right? At least the best of this era, and I'd agree on that part. So let's see. It's just this wicked kind of like, come on already, you know? But I don't know, though. I don't have a definitive stance on that.
I find it's like talking to... You're talking to a boxer, it's almost, he's no chance he's going to get absolutely murked. Then you're talking to an MMA fan and they're pro Conor. Then you've got the Irish aspect as well, that, you know, the Irishman, let's get behind. Once one go to war, we all go to war. So there's certainly that opinion, but there's a great divide in what people say. And I find a lot of the stuff the boxing world is saying is almost out of fear. If Conor comes in and knocks out Floyd Mayweather, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? It's just going to be insane. And like, it's almost like they're putting them down so much because they don't want to even think of that as a chance. Yeah. As in John Kavanagh was quoted saying they don't expect him to land a shot in the fight, and he said, I don't expect this to be the hardest fight of all time for Conor. I expect him to go in there and completely dominate. So one of the teams is living in delusion, but I find it hard to imagine anything other than Conor really putting on a clinic and really just destroying him. That was John Kavanagh in an interview last night with the Mac Life. So that's the confidence. That's not just, for me, I don't think that's just selling a fight. I think that is belief in your fighter and his ability. So, you know, if one thing you don't hear coming out of the McGregor camp is, well, if he goes 12 rounds, sure, we'll be delighted with that. There's none of that talk. Yeah. While the fear is in the talk of the boxing world. They're the ones that are, it's almost they're saying things in certain fear. Like, this is, a lot of people also see this as a win-win for Conor. It doesn't matter. Conor doesn't see it that way. We're talking to Tommy McCormick, who'll be out. Cut man. So we're hearing behind, you're talking about how advanced he's come. Tommy has said in the 10 weeks he's been working with him, it's like two completely different fighters to the ability and the skill set. So I honestly think the boxing world is underestimating what Conor is bringing. And if they underestimate, and if, more importantly, not the boxing world, if the Mayweathers are doing the same things, which I don't believe they are, but if they are, they could be in for one shock on Saturday
I think
night.
You hit the nail on the head as well, Brendan. I think there's a lot of people who are on one side and they refuse to even look at the bigger picture or look at any kind of chance. Like, it's, at the end of the day, this is a fist fight. You know, anything can happen. Yeah. I say Mayweather wins because he's the boxer. He's 49-0. He's one of the best boxers of all time. But, like, two guys going in there, a young guy, a hungry guy, both with the same gloves across from each other. Anything can happen. I think it's silly to say 100% without any doubt Mayweather wins. I think that's silly. But I think at the same time you have to be fair and say Mayweather is the boxer. He has all this talent. But I think some people are too on one side and they won't.
I think
they won't give anything to any other side.
I think it's like loyalty as well from both sides. Both sides are so loyal to their man, and I honestly believe it is now. At first it was just a fight that people were saying whatever, but I honestly believe now it's almost MMA versus boxing, and it's become, we're back at our guy, you know what I mean? That's our guy. You know?
All the talk as well is that a lot of MMA fighters who don't really like Conor and have been against Conor are on board now and saying, we hope Conor wins this fight.
One great point Conor actually made himself was, he said, you know, when I fought in the UFC, it was me against other UFC guys, and I wasn't. He says, but now I'm representing the UFC.
It's so weird.
And they're supporting him and helping him so much. And you know, so we can understand that. But Brendan, just from the Mayweather point of view, what does Floyd need to do on Saturday night to get the W?
Stay calm. Calm amidst the storm. He can't. If you watch young, like, Money Mayweather, he was actually really aggressive, especially against southpaws, actually. Even if you can be aggressive and be calm at the same time. I don't think Khabib, let's say, who's the most successful, reckless-looking fighter in MMA, right? It would be probably Khabib. And Triple G would be probably in boxing the equivalent. No coincidence there that they're both from the same place of the world, right?
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. Different white people. But they are not reckless. Does that make sense? So he can be aggressive and not reckless. Like, you can't lose your head. If he somehow gets drawn into that street fight thing or the taunting, or, you know, Conor's gonna do that shit if he has any chance. Whether it's hands behind the back or whether it's like goofy, like, you know, old school, like putting his dukes up. I feel like a lot of that might come. I could see him even like maybe like taking some shots on purpose to return, you know? So that you can't let any of that get to you. Now, Floyd's shown no chinks, though. He's never shown that. He has no Tyson moment. He has no biting ears. He has no... I mean, Ortiz maybe, but that was more intelligent, really, if you think about it. When Victor Ortiz headbutted him, and then he went over like he was going to touch gloves and knocked him out right there on the spot. I mean, I don't see that kind of stuff getting into his head, so it's going to be a matter of, I mean, there's the obvious things that I feel like everyone's probably already covered, right? As an orthodox fighter against someone who's generally a southpaw, and your open stance, your best weapon's your right straight. Floyd happens to have a magical too. And he moves out of it a lot, and he throws it at every range. So when he's here shelling, a lot of times he's moving like this, and he throws it from nowhere. But it's blast and retract, and he's out. Against the ropes, he's like that too. And if you understand the way that shell defense works, even as a southpaw, it's like, in some ways it's better because he can throw that like that arching left hook I was talking about. So your left hook and your right straight are your best weapons as an orthodox fighter against a southpaw. normally. So from a technical standpoint, that speed, in, out, in, out, in, out, try to wear him down. You can't rely on power. I don't think. Conor's usually got a granite chin, you know. And what Floyd's really good at when he does rock people is catching them when they're trying to throw a punch. And what I saw with that Van Heerden, or I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to pretend that that's Conor now. It's probably not at all. Yeah. But when he was catching Conor in the best way with the most efficacy was when Conor was trying to throw punches himself. Yeah. Same with when Diaz caught him as well. They got his timing. Usually Conor gets someone else's timing and then he gets them because Conor's got fantastic timing. But Floyd's timing is from fucking Jupiter. You know what I mean? He's another level to it. But there's a size and strength thing and an awkwardness thing that I'll use this analogy and hopefully this will make sense. And I don't mean this to belittle anyone's skill, but did you guys play like fighting games when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. So I remember we used to play that. And like I used to, of course, it was a fighting game, so I loved it, right? And I tried to be nasty at it with combinations and all this. And sometimes a little kid would come up and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing and he'd kill you.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, you didn't play by the rules, but it's like he won anyway. It didn't matter. I had to go and someone else put a quarter in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I used to be that kid.
there is that. And that analogy is kind of weird, but it's not. It's really not. In a way, the awkwardness needs to stay there. He needs to do things that are out of the box. If he tries to just throw, 1-1-2s and fade left and use head movement, I mean, you want to use head movement, but he's got to be a little off the beaten path. Conor does. Floyd needs to not fall for tricks. Just stick to a game plan. Stay in your shell until you see openings. He should be patient and not do the whole... I always mention the pride goeth before the fall thing that I said before the first Diaz fight, which is you've got to let your pride just absolve itself. Because he keeps saying, I'm going to go at Conor, I'm going to go hard, I'm going to knock him out. And then Kavanaugh saying that stuff. I mean, doesn't he always say that? Has he ever not said that? He's never said, this one might go 5. Yeah. It might go 5. Both Diaz fights were going to be over in the first round via uppercut. And Conor's pride with landing that fucking left uppercut might have been what caught him. Right? Who knows? Because his fatigue might have been the result of injury. I don't want to stay too much on that. It's hard to stay so much on Mayweather when I know our demographic that's watching this. With that said, I think it's stay to your tools that work. This covers so much of you. He's got a phenomenal jab, which is a tad nullified against southpaw, but go to the body often and early, be quick with your feet, and keep more distance than he's used to because Conor's very deceptive with distance.
I'm gonna do the question that you'd get on, I don't know, like a talk show where they'd have it, down the bottom. Does Saturday night, how the fight go, depend on was this good for MMA and boxing, or has it already been good for MMA and boxing?
It's already great.
Yeah, I agree.
It's already great exposure. I mean, the world knows Conor McGregor now. Which is awesome. I mean, sometimes casual fans drive me fucking crazy, I'm not going to lie. Especially doing what I do. I don't think they understand how much goes into what I do, And not the actual breakdown itself. It's like all the years of work before the breakdown that went in, right? And they're telling me how wrong I am or calling me stupid. Or it's so absurd. And it's kind of comical at this point. I'm learning to just let it roll off. But with that said, no matter what, eyes on UFC, and the more mainstream it becomes, and the more people actually understand what the fuck is going on in there, the better, So I don't see it in any way being bad for MMA. The only way that it's bad for anyone is if Conor starches Floyd. If it's like flukish looking, right? If he comes out in the first round, it's just like Aldo. I felt a little robbed by that fight. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was too fast. Like, we didn't get to see him fight. Like, it's impressive, but my adrenaline wasn't right. Like, I didn't feel right about it, So that would be the only thing that I feel like would be some kind of disservice either way. A really fast finish either way would be a little bit like, I want to see something. I want to see some feeling out, And I don't want something flukish. I don't want Conor to get, DQ'd or, you see what I'm saying? It would be something really outlandish for it to not be good for both sides. And if Floyd gets knocked out, it could potentially be kind of bad for boxing, but is it really? I mean, the only guy that ever retired without a loss was Marciano, but a lot of people think that he had way too many layups in his career. Or the only guy of substance that went out, a career undefeated anyway. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Minus something flukish and fast. I think either way, everyone wins.
The word casuals there, I love that. We always would talk about casual fans. One thing you are, Brendan, is if a casual fan wants to sound like an expert or just wants to get their knowledge base of what's actually happening in there, go onto YouTube, type in Brendan Dorman and have a look, and you too will be becoming a lot smarter, and you will stand out to your mates in the pub. Think of the stuff when you turn around and you say like a 2L and stuff and a 3, and they'll be like, what you mean by that? Look, you don't know, man, I'm doing this shit years, that's, I tell you, if anyone wants to see and understand, and I love it, I have to say, Brendan, I love watching it because you see things that I love nothing more than when we're here breaking down a fight and I say something and you go, yeah, I said it, and I go, yeah.
Or when you're watching the fight and you're like, I wonder if Brendan's going to say it, and you watch it like, yeah. We've seen it.
It is, man. You're educating the casuals. You're turning the casuals into experts.
Like, look, Noel knows what he's talking about now after watching it for a couple of weeks.
He's like, I know what a 2 is. Yeah. He's like, that's a cross, right?
Yeah.
No, it's
the cross.
Eventually, it just the reason that I do that is because I do want people to learn. What if and this has happened before, what if someone I met on YouTube wants to train with me? They're already going to know. Yeah. If I go like 1-1-2 under and I'm holding pads, like, they're already going to know. That's great. Yeah. So those I hope no one ever took that as I'm like saying fuck casuals. I'm saying that the 2 of the 100 are the ones that are annoying. Yeah. The rest are like, they come to my channel and they're like, I've learned so much, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, learning's great. Don't think you can fight because of this, though. Yeah. You need to like supplement this with your training. So I think it's a responsible thing for me to always kind of put that disclaimer out there. But those are awesome, kind words, man. It must be the shirt.
It must be.
Thank you.
You've good taste.
Coordinate. 2 questions before we go.
Yes.
1, does this look like a boxing match? Does this actually look like a boxing fight on Saturday night? 2, does McGregor fight in the UFC or boxing next?
Both for me? For the first one, I'm going to say in spots, yes, but overall, no. I think in spots it'll just look like a boxing match, but in spots there's going to unless again flukes aside. Let's just put flukes aside. No, I think it's going to be kind of a split. Probably more so not what you typically would see in a boxing match. I think it favors that. Although there will be spots, maybe a whole round or so, maybe not even that long, of what we would call, that looks like boxing, right? Boxing, but not much. I think it's going to look a lot different. Yeah. And then it's going to be whose computer worked faster to kind of figure out the range or whatever, or motion or timing. And the second one was
UFC or boxing? Next fight for McGregor? MMA or boxing?
Oh, Jesus Christ. On everything I've worked for, MMA, please. Like 145 still feels a little fucked up,
Yeah, it does.
Does Holloway really feel like, yes?
Holloway, did you see the video Holloway shared? Holloway shared a video of Conor's interview with Gareth Davis saying he hasn't fought in 14 months. He's not the champion anymore or something like that. He hasn't fought in that long. So Max Holloway was like, well, I'm obviously the champion because you haven't fought at 45 either. Like, so to answer it, yes, I think it is going to look like a boxing match because it's in a ring. No, it's I think it's gonna look very different because I think, Brendan, you might agree with me this. There's almost a rhythm to a boxing fight. Yeah. And I just think rather than just bum ba-dum ba-dum, this one will go bum 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 bum. And I think Conor
You're singing bum 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 by David Bowie?
No, but I'm listening to David Bowie all the way into work. But no, I just think Conor is going to mix up the pace of the fight.
To Major Tom.
But he's going to fight MMA next for me because he's not going to be a happy bunny that Ferguson is fighting Lee for an interim belt where he is the champion of. So I think he comes back and puts either of them out in December.
I thought he was going to Russia to fight Khabib, right? Isn't that what Dana said?
Yeah, and he said that too.
Yeah,
he said he'd be interested.
That's what's happening. Yeah, so we already know. What are we talking about?
Yeah, Dana always tells the truth.
And Dana we don't trust.
Listen to me, man. An absolute pleasure. Enjoy the fight.
Good to be back.
I love chatting with you. We'll hit you up on actual MMA talk because your boy with the T-shirt behind you, GSP, said something crazy today about he's coming back to hurt people.
Oh, yeah. He did.
Oh, did he, my man?
Yeah.
He wants to finish, guys.
All right, awesome.
Yeah. So listen, enjoy the fight,
Next
you man.
185 champ. You heard it here first.
There you go. Right, Brent. Pleasure, me man.
Right.
Take care.
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Cheers, man. Later.
Yeah, it's always exciting, isn't it? Always insightful to hear the words of Brendan Dorman. And again, like we say, you got to go and check him out, man. His breakdowns are great. I was under the impression Brendan was really, no way this is going to happen for Conor. But, there's a lot of things. He sees a path to victory here, you know what I mean? As in, you always, when we first started this, he's going to win. Do you not see a path to victory? I'm like, fuck you and your path to victory.
And yes, I do. Yeah, but shut up.
But there is. But there you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring on the man, the myth,
the legend,
the gentleman, Daniel Movahedi. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see his beautiful tan as well. Dan, you're looking sharp back from a nice vacay. If you're listening on the iTunes or Android, you're about to find out. Daniel, the gentleman Movahedi. Dan, good to see your beautiful face on our big screen again.
It's good to be back. I know you guys had a couple of weeks off, and then you was in Mexico, and then
he was away.
Was somewhere.
You were
he
away.
needs a time off.
I was in London for a few days, Dan, as well. London and Spain.
Yeah. He knocked around, but you weren't in.
I was in sunny Florida, so which was good. Being a big kid.
Very nice.
Excellent. Let's look at it, Dan. I just wanted to sort of pick your brain. Obviously, Conor has brought in camp over here. He's had a referee both in Ireland and in Vegas in there. So again, the idea of that I think is brilliant by the McGregor camp to bring a referee in, but it's obviously, I'd imagine, to test to see what Conor can get away with, what a boxing referee would be looking for, opposed to mixed martial arts, clinch, stuff like that. What he can get away with. He obviously can't do spinning back fist, Superman punch, that type of thing. But that, from a referee's perspective, what if you were refereeing this fight? What would you be looking for when they get in close, as in the little tricks of the trade?
What they're not to do, so to speak.
They're not to do, what would the referee be looking at here?
As you know, especially with some of the white collar stuff I do and some of the boxing fights, or even the K1 or the stand up fights that are refereeing, you've got a lot of crossover with the MMA guys, especially in the K1 fights over here. Got a lot of crossover between MMA guys fighting stand-up fights, etc. One of the things that I tend to look for, and I'm sure the referee would look for, is the clinch of the head. So the cup in the back of the head and throwing rabbit punches from like uppercuts. It's just basically what I call like dirty boxing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see. I don't think Conor's going to tie up with Mayweather much, but as a ref, I'm sure they're the kind of things they'll be looking at. But again, I hope that the referee, I don't know who it is, but whoever it is ends up to be, I do hope that he looks at it as fighter A and B. There's no, like, his concentration isn't going more towards McGregor and missing out what Mayweather's doing, or vice versa, concentration going on Mayweather and missing out what McGregor's doing. You know, should see them both as equal. Like you said, McGregor's brought a referee in to help him in his training camp. For him maybe to even get used to having a referee there. You know, obviously in MMA, I know some clubs, I've been down certain gyms, and they've asked me to mimic role of referee in their sparring match, just so they're used to the whole, visualization of what it's like to be in there in the cage, etc. So, that's another reason he's mostly brought a referee in to help him out, not necessarily to see what he can get away with, just to see that what it is like, of having a referee to say time, break, stop, whatever it may be, So, yeah, I think it's a very good step for him. But the main thing I'll be looking out for would be the cupping of the head, because obviously in MMA you have the Thai boxing style where you can clinch the back of the head and throw your strikes or hit your uppercuts, your elbows, etc. So just that holding the back of the head, aggressive holding and pulling down the head will be one of the things I'll be looking for. And maybe possibly the feet movement, the sweep of the foot. But I personally don't think McGregor's going to pull any of that off. No Superman punch, no spinning back fist, none of that. He's going to go in there clean and prove to everyone that he can hang in there and have a good fight.
The big thing was Cortez was there for the Malignaggi spars. The debate of push or punch from a referee, you're in that ring, Dan. Are you starting to count to 10?
What on that footage that you showed me earlier today?
Yeah.
That to me, and just watching it from that footage again, like I always say, I'm not the guy in there, so I haven't got a first eye view. But I thought that was a punch and not a push. So yeah, but you could have given a count on that, and it didn't look like a slip either.
Well, that's what Malignaggi was saying. He pulled his head down to pushed him off.
Yeah, that was the argument, wasn't it? The hold of the head.
Yeah. But then again, you have to be in there to as a referee, you have to decide was that a push of the head or did he touch it? How aggressive and how much did he pull the head down? At the end of the day, it's going to be a fight. There's going to be some stuff going on. You always see in boxing here, you're not going to expect in this fight. You've seen headbutts or clash of heads or shoulder barging. You see all that happening all the time. But then it's down to the referee to say, look, calm down and watch how you're coming in with your heads, watch how you're holding gloves, and that could be another factor, holding the gloves. From both fighters, I could see that if they're clinching. With MMA guys, that's quite a lot of, especially in the stand-up fights. That's one of the things that I tend to always seem to pick up is telling them, look, enough of holding the gloves. So when they're coming in, they're wrapping their arms around the gloves, and it just stops that that movement from the other fighter. But yeah, I think it'll be a good clean fight personally. I
know you don't know the referee personally and all that, but do you think that there's a possibility that McGregor or Mayweather will be given a little bit more leeway from a boxing referee? Any chance of that?
I don't think so, and the referee will be stupid to do that, because I think the commission will come down hard on him, or you could just see it now. If he let Mayweather get away with a few different things and not pick him up on it, but if McGregor does something, even if it's just a small thing, and he picks up on it, you could see the headlines now. Oh, he won the fight because the referee favoured him, and no referee wants that. Like I said. Any referee and even myself, no matter what fight I go in, I see it's fighter A, fighter B. It could be for a title fight. It could be an amateur fight. So you just got to see it just for what it is, a fight, and treat it just like any other fight.
Something, Dan, that I have said to a few people here when we're talking about the fight, and they're talking about, Mayweather doesn't have power, he doesn't have knockout power. Something that's very different than boxing to MMA as well is, sometimes a referee will step in and just wave it off, even though the fighter is still on top. He's taking too much damage. Is that, again, Conor's known for having a good chin. A couple of people have said that today as well on the show. But is that something, a possibility that maybe people, Floyd will be thrown so many punches and bunches and combinations that Conor shells up, and that could be the TKO finish that will force the referee, as in a boxing referee? Is it slightly different when you're refereeing boxing in that sense, that if someone's still on their feet, just shelling up, doing nothing, that you're going to step in and wave it off?
Same as I do in the MMA. I make sure I am loud and clear, and when I shout out instructions to the fighters, show me you can get out of there. You need to fight back. You need to do something. And then if the fighter isn't doing that, then of course I'm sure the referee will step in. But what people need to realise is, and even fighters, that at the end of the day, as a referee, it doesn't matter how your sparring days are going. You could stand and take 50 unanswered shots. Yeah, okay, sparring is not hitting me hard. I do this in the gym all the time. But at the end of the day, you're in a fight. I don't know how good, how many shots you've taken or what you're feeling like. You covering up for me isn't good enough, But, I'm sure the referee will be there and will give his commands and his instructions of, he needs to see something. And I know that in Nevada, same as what they do in MMA, the referee goes into each individual fighter and speaks to them and puts exactly what he expects from them. So if a fighter doesn't do what the referee has told them prior to the fight, look, when I say these words, or when I say to you, you need to show me something, I need to see X, Y, and Z. If they don't see that, of course, the referee is going to stop the fight. But I can't see it being a TKO. I don't know, man. It's a really tough fight, and I'm really, now that it's come around, I'm bloody looking forward to it.
We speak about it a lot on the show, about referees having probably one of the most thankless jobs in this sport, in boxing, in MMA. But how much pressure does this referee have going into this fight? Because the MMA fans are going to be looking at this, and almost looking at him like an enemy. They're going to be like, if he disqualifies Conor for doing something silly, that's just and then the boxing fans are going to be saying, this MMA fighter's coming in here, he's letting him away with too much, he's being dirty.
They should have just put a glory ref in, a K1 fight, bit of both, wasn't it? A bit of boxing there, a bit of kicking there, so he can be the neutral referee, so to speak. Man, the pressure. I for one obviously would like to be the referee there, whether it's for finance or whatever it is, the biggest fight of history, etc. But at the same time, man, there is a hell of a lot of pressure on that referee, you know. But again, I'm sure they've chosen well and they've chosen the right guy to do the job. And you know, as long as he makes sure that the fight is running well and plays out good how the fans want it to be, which is a good fight, and making sure no one's using any dirty tactics, then I'm sure everything will be good on the day. You know, on the night.
If it's a disqualification, he's going to be the most hated man in the world.
Well, look, at the end of the day, he's there to do a job. If it is a DQ, it's a DQ. You know.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying. You know the way the public will react.
More pressing news this week as well. Dan, you got rid of a white belt and you got yourself a blue one.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Which was to my surprise, and obviously my coach Tiago Valente down at New Wave Checkmate Croydon, presented me with my blue belt, man, and damn, I'm feeling the fucking bruises on my back from the whips.
Yeah. And come here, Dan. How long are you training in the gi?
I've been training the gi I've been training solid about a year in the gi, but I have been on and off with. You know, I used to be at 9-9 Jiu-Jitsu with Austin Gardner, so on and off. But this time round, I was like, okay, I better stick at it. I want to have a go, and I'm competing in October, touchwood, in a gi as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Just a bit of fun, and if anything, just to keep me sharp and keep me up with the moves and you know, like I always say, I think it's important any referee who's involved in any combat sport to train at least a discipline of the sport that they're involved in. So, yeah.
Let's hope your coach isn't listening. What you prefer, gi or no gi?
I prefer both. I
prefer. Is that a fence you're sitting on or a couch?
Yeah. No gi is obviously my fault. Obviously, where I come from, the MMA background, you know, and obviously the wrestling side and stuff like that. But a gi, mate, is so technical. It's just like. Different. It's like, as they say, you know, it's like a chess match, you know, whereas no gi, you can sit inside, man, no one's grabbing your collar, your wrists or your trousers, you know. So
the big question is, Dan, is when is the gentleman taking on Goddard? That's the big thing. Paul Harris 10.
Never. That guy, trust me, I've heard people who've rolled with him and they've... Yeah.
You told me last time backstage at Bamba that you would tap Goddard like a bitch.
Never. Not me, mate.
I'm tagging Mark in this part of this segment.
I would love to roll with him though if he's ever about and he doesn't, you know, he's got the time. I would, of course, love to roll with him. And man, the guy's, you know, received his black belt. He's been training for years, you know, years and years. So yeah, I would love to have a referee's match. I must get twisted up in a minute or so.
No, but man,
you'll grapple him.
I have to know who. Goddard?
No, Dan, next time.
Dan, yeah, I'll roll with you, Dan. Next time we're at BAM, I'll get in the cage with you. Here in Dublin, we'll get them roll. If they let us in,
we'll have a...
They probably won't. But my days at the BAM. I used to be in it. I know, but Dan, huge congratulations. I was delighted when I seen it, man. So congratulations. Oops the fuck, as Johnny Jitsu would say. I think you're running off training now, are you?
Huh?
Are you running training now?
Am I? Yes, I am going to be. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So, listen, Dan, it was great having you on. Only brief, only talking a little bit about the referee, but we'll get you on next week and we'll talk all things.
Definitely.
I'm sure there'll be something fun
Let's
from
see
the
what
fight. So I'm sure there'll be something interesting. But great seeing
you. You guys are going to be staying up and watching that live, right?
Oh, 100%.
Cool. I'll be sure to be on Twitter at the same time as well, then, man.
There's rumours that I could be in Palin's house watching it.
There's rumours.
Could be a live video.
Nice. Well, I tell you what, just on the finishing note, when I was in the States, you know, I can tell you, man, every other advert was the McGregor-Mayweather fight. No matter what it was a news channel, the kids were watching Cartoon Network, every other advert was literally McGregor versus Mayweather. So it's going to be a bloody big fight, which I'm looking forward to.
I said when you're in America, people were talking about obviously fight talk. I was like, that's great news, Dan.
Sorry, of course, yeah.
I knew we had a big audience in America.
We'll edit that, man. So listen, Dan, again, congratulations. So what we take from this is All the referee stuff that the ref has to look for. You're going to tap Goddard like a bitch. I'm only joking. Listen, Dan, an absolute pleasure talking to you as always, and great to see you back on our big screen. It's been too long.
Same.
Thanks, me man.
Looking forward to it. See you next week.
See you next week, brother.
Peace.
The gentleman, Movahedi, I'm trying to put words in his mouth. I don't, even when Dan was an active MMA fighter, I'd say his trash talk was terrible, wasn't it? Like, he'd be such the nicest guy you could possibly meet. But yeah, congratulations, blue belt. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. That was a jam-packed show. We're sort of looking forward to these fights. One thing we haven't done, Robert, is we haven't said
we haven't
our little things. But look,
but we haven't. Let's let the cat out of the bag. We haven't even opened the show yet. We're going to do it after this.
Well, that's just wrong.
Well, it's dark out now.
Don't let continuity ruin the show. And I think I started the show with my sleeves down. Anyway. Yeah, we may as well wrap it in the classic way we do wrap it. Thanks to everybody who was on today with us. Johnny Jitsu, as always, just getting on. It was great talking to Blake Stephenson from Loaded Joe's MMA. Check them out. There's so many guests here too.
Yeah, so many guests.
To listen, we have Brendan Dorman and, of course, Daniel Movahedi. Check out as well, we have a video with Tommy McCormick, the cut man, the handsome cut man in the corner of Conor McGregor.
Out tomorrow.
Yeah,
if you're watching this on a Tuesday, Wednesday.
And do you know what? Skip on over to Paddy Power website and hit blog, or just type in Paddy Power blog and check out. Myself and Rob have been contributing quite a bit now to Paddy Power's blogs and stuff like that. So check them out. Big shout out as always to 5 Star Ireland, who gave me the new t-shirt. Rob, I got a new one.
Did you get it?
I got a new one. Mine? I was gonna wear it into work here the other day, and I was brushing my teeth, and Wendy was walking out and she says, "Are you wearing that into work?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Do you know what's wrote on the back of it?" I'm like, "No." And I can't remember the quote word for word, but it's something like "grow some fucking balls, man," or something like that. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably not a good idea to wear around the office." But I got my new Booster Fight Star Ireland t-shirt. So check them out for everything you need under 2 roofs. Doesn't have the same ring anymore. No. Gonna have to change that.
Close down shop.
MMAmix.com. Everything you need under one roof. They're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk and feelsupreme.co.uk. People, why are you not using the code Fight Talk? Use it, 10% off. They look after the Chinese. They won shitloads of medals. This has been 77. I've been Noel. He's been a bronze Palin.
Thank you.
Enjoy the fights.